Imagine the sound of a jackhammer tearing up a freshly poured, like $50,000 concrete slab.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That sound isn't just bad luck. It's usually the sound of an executive who rushed the groundbreaking maybe 3 weeks prior. Today, we're doing a deep dive into why construction sites just, spiral out of control. Now, these insights come from Erdem Evren. That's Erdem Evren.
Yeah, Erdem really lays out a field-tested framework for how these site failures sort of cascade. Because the cascade almost always starts, before a shovel even hits the dirt.
Right, like mistake number one, which is just poor planning and scheduling, basically jumping in without a fully defined realistic timeline.
Exactly. Which gets us back to your jackhammering example.
Mhm.
Pouring a slab before the plumbing sleeves are actually fully approved.
And that happens entirely because, well, stakeholders get antsy, right? They apply pressure to just break ground already.
Yeah, and the consequence is massive rework and schedule delays right out of the gate. Erdem points out that the solution here is utilizing tools like Primavera P6 or MS Project, to build detailed schedules with built-in contingencies.
But the nuance there is how professionals actually use them, right? The trap is building the schedule once just to win the bid and then, tossing it in a drawer.
Oh, 100%. It has to be a living document. Top-tier supers treat that baseline schedule like a GPS navigating traffic. They build inevitable weather delays and, supply buffers directly into the route. They don't just map some fantasy best-case scenario.
Right, but even the best schedule shatters if the field teams aren't talking. Which brings us to mistake two, ineffective communication. Rushed planning naturally breeds field chaos, specifically severe coordination breakdowns between your trades.
Exactly. When communication fails, you get, say, HVAC ductwork clashing directly with electrical rough-ins because somebody missed an RFI.
But wait, isn't that siloed approach kind of by design? An electrician shouldn't be sweating over HVAC ducting. They have their own strict deadlines. How do you force them to care about the bigger picture without, slowing them down?
Well, you don't force them to care about the HVAC. You force them to operate from the exact same reality. Teams are head down, tearing up finished work because of misunderstandings. So Erdem's fix is rigorous progress meetings and utilizing management software like Procore or Buildertrend.
Because the mechanism there creates a single source of truth. Like if the architect moves a wall on the blueprint, the framing sub's iPad updates, 5 seconds later?
Right, they physically cannot build off yesterday's mistakes. But while internal communication fixes site clashes, it doesn't solve external blindness, which is mistake 3, ignoring risk management altogether.
Oh, like turning a blind eye to a looming material supply chain strike?
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah.
And the psychological driver there is, optimism bias. Everyone just assumes it'll work itself out.
And when it doesn't, your site stalls indefinitely. You've got crews literally standing around with no materials.
Which is why Erdem says you must maintain an active risk register, conduct regular site inspections, and crucially, prep contingency plans.
So for the pros, that means reviewing that risk register weekly to pre-order long lead materials way early, completely bypassing the bottleneck.
Spot on. Because if you ignore those risks and the materials don't show, you're paying crews to do nothing. That naturally bleeds right into your profit margins, triggering mistake 4.
Budget mismanagement. It's like a leaky pipe behind drywall, totally invisible until the whole ceiling caves in.
Yeah.
You start bleeding money on unapproved overtime just to catch up on the schedule.
Yeah, and it's all driven by unchecked scope creep. To stop that margin drain, Erdem advises implementing strict cost controls, accurate forecasting, and negotiating value engineering alternatives. Without losing quality, of course.
Right. The real pros execute Whitley cost-to-complete forecasts. They know exactly where the burn rate is every single Friday. They never wait for month-end billing surprises.
But once that budget is blown, panic sets in. You scramble on the ground, which leads right into mistake 5, poor resource allocation.
You see it all the time. Your drywallers are standing idle on the clock, fully paid, because the framing crew ahead of them is critically understaffed.
And it stems from poor daily monitoring. It causes massive burnout and paid inefficiency. The solution Erdem offers is strategic daily assignment. You have to monitor progress daily and distribute your equipment and workforce dynamically.
Like using daily morning huddles to identify that specific day's bottleneck and instantly shifting laborers directly to help the framers push through.
Exactly. But here is where the cascade gets really deadly. Rushing to fix those localized bottlenecks pushes teams into the final pitfall, mistake 6, neglecting safety regulations.
Oh man, schedule pressure. It makes a worker skip scaffolding tie-offs just to save, 5 minutes.
Right, and the consequence isn't just a blown budget anymore. You're looking at fatal accidents and total legal shutdowns of your site.
Which means Erdem's rule here has to be non-negotiable. Enforce strict protocols, ensure proper PPE, and conduct regular toolbox talks.
Safety leads the schedule, not the other way around. Experienced superintendents start absolutely every single shift with a hazard-focused toolbox talk before a single tool is even touched.
It's a complete chain reaction, isn't it? Prevent the early planning failures, and you protect the budget, the schedule, and most importantly, your people.
That's the real takeaway here. It all connects.
So think about the site you're walking tomorrow. If you eliminated just one of these blind spots, found the one leaky pipe behind the drywall before it burst, how much rework, chaos, and money would you save by this Friday?